Hello, I'm Brad Phillips and welcome to Puppy Steps Training. We're very excited for you to be bringing home your new puppy. We've created this video so that we can demonstrate all of the training your puppy has received. We also want to go over how to troubleshoot it and how to make sure that you continue with the training so that you can have a lifetime of success with your puppy. Before we get into that portion of the video, we need to cover some very important parts of the training program. And that's really just to cover what your expectations are and to cover our 3 secrets to success, if you will. So first, our expectations. We have very high expectations for your puppy, and you should too. But remember, they are still a puppy, which means they are going to make mistakes. You are not getting a perfect dog. I hope that wasn't your expectation, but if it was, I would suggest that maybe you run to Walmart and get a stuffed animal, because there is no such thing as a perfect dog. They are going to make mistakes, and it's important for us to teach them what our expected behaviors are. We got to teach them that you have high expectations, that you are going to be their new leader, because right now they see myself and our trainers as leaders. And so we want the same relationship to develop with you. And in order to do that, you have to be consistent, you have to follow through, and you have to manage your dog. So, first one, consistency. When we talk about consistency, that's both consistently rewarding and correcting. You have to have both. It's also important that your whole family is consistent across the board with what they expect from your puppy, and that we expect our puppies to follow rules. Dogs need structure. They need a pack leader, and so that's where you're going to come in. So it's important to use the same words across the board. So the first one, we have our marker, which is okay. So okay means that your dog, they've done something correctly and that they're finished, and some type of reward is going to follow. So if I asked my dog to hold a down stay, I backed up, and then I would say, okay, good dog. And that means they did it correctly and they're released and they can come and get a treat from me, or they get praised or something like that. They get rewarded is what's important. Right now, your dog's a puppy, and so most likely they are very food motivated. That is a currency that they want to work for, and so we're going to use that to our advantage. And I would suggest using that positive reinforcement at least through the first year of your dog's life. As they gain fluency and they're really, really good and quick with all these commands, then you can definitely start to wean off this food reward. But as your puppy grows and matures and starts to develop a relationship with you, it's important that I would use food and I would earn their trust. And once again, I want our relationship to be built out of respect. And so if you're giving them a currency that they enjoy, you're going to build that respect much faster. But there are going to be times where you don't have food on you. And so it's important to still reward your dog. In these cases, I use praise and affection very heavily. Also, if I'm outside and we're playing with a toy, I will use that toy as a reward. You can use tennis balls or bumpers or anything like that. If your dog really enjoys playing fetch, use that toy as a reward. Go out, ask him to do some basic obedience, and then throw the toy. But always follow up with some type of reward. Now, we also use the word good. Good is like a keep going, you're almost there type of a command. I'll say good when they're holding a stay. I can walk up, tell them, good dog, good boy. And that's not releasing them, but I'm going to pet them, maybe give them a treat, and it's just more of a reassurance. That's also like, especially in a recall command, I'll start to say good as soon as they start to come towards me, because it's like, yes, you're doing the right thing, you're almost done. And then as soon as they get to me, I follow that up with, okay, good dog. So use those. Now, also, I do believe that there's a balance to all things. So just as I'm going to consistently reward, I'm going to consistently correct. So when I correct a dog, I don't believe that you need to physically dominate your dog. I want our relationship, once again, to be built out of respect. And so my correction a lot of times is simple. If I'm working with a puppy and they break, I'll just simply tell them no, and then I'll have them do that behavior again. So just as important as the actual verbal correction is that reinforcement by having them do the correct behavior. So that's all it needs to be, is a simple no. If your dog does do something a little bit more serious, like maybe they start to have an accident, that's when I do get really firm. And so once again, I'm not going to physically dominate my dog. Instead, if they start to have an accident, I might clap, I might stomp, and I'll say, no, 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 no. And I just get a lot more a lot more firm in that, teaching them like, no, no, please don't do that. Let's hurry and go outside. But once again, I'm going to follow through. So if my dog starts to have an accident and I correct him that way, I'm going to quickly grab them. I'm going to take them outside, give them the opportunity to finish going to the bathroom outside, and then I'm going to bury that frustration deep down, and I'm going to reward that puppy for doing that correct behavior. So that way we create a black and white experience. It's, no, don't do that here. Yes, good job. This is where I want you to do it. That's the correct behavior. We do have one type of physical correction, and that's just a simple leash correction. I'm not trying to yank them around because at this stage, one, I don't want to apply a lot of pressure. I want to first teach a behavior before I implement that pressure. So this leash correction is more to regain their attention to then change their behavior, which the nice thing about leash pressure is then it easily transforms into using a prong collar or using other forms of pressure to teach your dog higher levels of obedience. But once again, first, before I start implementing too much pressure, I want to make sure that they understand what my expectations are. So remember, this is a balanced dog training program, which means you have to have both. You need that positive reinforcement so you can teach, but you have to have that correction so you can establish what your expectations are. So then our second point is that follow through. It directly correlates to being consistent. If you correct your dog and they ignore you, you have to follow through. You can't just say no and then let your dog get away with performing an incorrect behavior. So one of these that I see all the time is a recall command. So if I call my dog to come and they ignore me, I am going to get my dog. Now I'm going to calmly go and get them. I'm never going to chase after my dog. The other thing is when my dog does finally come, I'm not going to reprimand them. I want to be calm, but I want to teach them what the expected behavior is. So I will only say a command once. I expect them to follow through. If they don't, I follow up with a correction. So I'd say no, and then I'm going to enforce the behavior. So in the situation, if I called my dog to come and they ignored me, I'm going to go and get them. The tricky thing, or not the tricky thing, but the important thing is, say I did call them to come and they failed and I got 90% of the way there, and then my dog was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? And came running over to me. I will reward that behavior because I don't want to reprimand my dog for coming to me. I'm not going to get frustrated and get mad at my dog for coming to me because there's a chance that they were just so hyper-focused on whatever was going on that they didn't register that you called them. Now, there are times where a dog might blatantly push the buttons. So another good example is jumping on a couch. So we have the command off. If one of my puppies came and hopped on this couch and I said, off, and they looked at me like, well, what are you going to do about it? At that point, I mark that behavior, I say no, and I go over and remove that puppy. So I am teaching them that that is not acceptable, this is what is acceptable. So you have to follow through, because if you repeat yourself, if you just sit there and you're like, no, Fluffy, off, Fluffy, Fluffy, get off, your dog's not registering that as a correction. They just think you're barking just like they bark. So instead, the moment that they choose not to obey, I mark that behavior with that correction, and then I reinforce. It's important to remember that what you reinforce will get replicated. So reinforce good behaviors. If your dog is in control, they're sitting next to you just hanging out, I'll pet them, I'll praise them. That's what I want. I want to reinforce that behavior. So catch them doing good things. But same thing, if your dog starts to pull, immediately correct that behavior. Teach them what your expected behavior is. So be consistent, follow through, and manage your dog. So management is going to be one of the most important things you do, especially over this transition period. So that breaks down to just maintaining control. If you have control of your dog, they're not allowed to create bad habits because they're not allowed to get away with doing an incorrect behavior. So there's a couple tools that I always recommend using. So first is the crate. The crate is your biggest asset, because as you bring a puppy home, you need to maintain 100% supervision. You need to know where your puppy is at all times, what they are doing at that moment. And so there's going to be times where you cannot do that. You need to focus on your kids, or you need to focus on making dinner, or you need to go take a shower. Like in those situations, put your puppy in the crate. That way they're under control because they're contained. They're not allowed to go and sneak around the corner and have an accident or go and chew something up. Maintain that control. The other thing, baby gates. If you don't want them in a super room, or in a specific room, block it off. Close doors. Don't allow access. Remember that freedom is earned. It is not a right in your home. As you bring your puppy home, they earn that freedom. So the other thing is keep a leash attached, especially early on. Let them drag a leash around. That way you have a quick way to correct them, a quick way to get them outside if you need to. But just understand that it has to be supervised. Like you can't just let your dog off in a room, especially if they have a leash attached, because you don't want them getting tangled around something. Whereas if I'm supervising them, giving them that strict supervision, I'm going to know what they're getting into or where they're at. And so I can immediately correct a behavior, I can immediately reward a behavior. We will touch on management throughout this video because it is so intertwined with everything we do. So I hope you enjoy. Once again, if you're seeing this video, that means your puppy is finished and they've reached our standards, and I think you're going to have great success. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. We want to make sure that this transition is as seamless as possible. So thanks again, we appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed your experience with Puppy Steps Training.
Hi Leslie, I am Skylar from Puppy Steps Training, the head trainer. I'm very excited to show you everything that Zelley has learned with us. So before we get into the manners and commands, I want to talk a little bit about Zelley. So Zelley is a wonderful dog. We all love her very much. However, she has a couple of quirks. First of all, she is a lot more to manage than the average dog. You're going to have to really keep an eye on her, make sure you know what she is doing at all times. Okay? She also requires constant feedback. That's good and bad. Whenever Zelley does an incorrect behavior, I'm going to tell her that. I'm going to immediately mark that with a no, and then more importantly, I'm going to show her what I want her to do instead. That is a very critical part of that process, is showing her the correct behavior. I want to give her as many answers to the test as possible. Okay. Also with Zelley, cute little wiener dog that she is very stubborn and has a very short attention span. So this means I do not want to get into really big mind battles with her. I'm not fighting for dominance. It's about finding a really good balance of making sure that she's motivated to work with me, she's happy to work with me, but also she does not get to quit and walk away. I will gauge her activity levels. I will give her lots of breaks. I will make it really fun. Okay, so just watch out for that as you have Zelley in your home, and you're going to have a really good time with her. Okay, so manners. Our first manner are the doorways. So Zelley is expected to wait at every closed door. So we're not too picky about doors that are already open. This is more of when I open the crate door for her or when we go through doors together. I don't care who goes through the door first. I just want her pausing. I don't want her little nose shoving through the door. I don't need to say no, wait, stay, or sit. I just want that pause. If she does happen to break through the door, I will do a couple different things depending on the situation. If she breaks through the crate door, I'll just close the crate door on her. I'll tell her no, and we'll try again. Her pawing, that's an example of a break. So if she wants to do this to the crate door, I'm going to say no, no, no. She is not going to come out unless she's paused, waiting, and patient. For the other doors, hopefully I'll have a leash on her so I can manage that situation, and if she does try to break through, I can use a tiny, very little pop on the leash, a tiny correction, tell her no, wait for the pause. I can also close that door and we just try again. If for some reason she breaks through, she squeezes past you, you're going to tell her no, you're going to walk into your yard, you're going to pick her up, and you're going to do it again. It may seem silly, but it's a very important lesson. I don't want Zelley learning if she's sneaky enough, if she's fast enough, she can get through the door without your permission. Okay, so I'm going to let Zelley out. Okay, good Zelley, good girl. Okay, hey. Okay, the next manner that we're going to talk about is Zelley's sit to greet. So you know she's doing this for me right now. She wants my attention. She's sitting very nicely, waiting for a treat, waiting for some sort of feedback or attention from me. Hello. So when you bring her home the first couple of days, I want you to do this engagement exercise and practice the sit to greets with Zelley. So it's very easy. You're gonna have your leash, you're gonna have some treats, you're gonna have a little wiener dog, and you're gonna say, Zelley, walk backwards, have her follow you, and then you're just gonna stop walking. And as soon as she plants her little butt, you're gonna mark that with an okay, she gets a treat. I will do this, Zelley. Okay, good girl. I'll do this a couple times at the beginning of my training session with her. If she is not really focusing on me, I want her to hone in on me. I want her to engage with me. And this is a really good way to work on that sit to greet exercise. So one more time, Zelley. Stop walking. Okay, good girl. So you notice I have a very neutral body language. I'm not being domineering over her. I'm not standing over. I'm just standing up nice and straight, and she responds to that. So you do not have to have Zelley do a sit to greet every time you want to pet her, but it's really important that when you call her over or when you haven't seen her in a while, you come home, you see her, that she presents the sit to greet. This manner is especially important for when she greets other people besides you. She does not get to be out of control when greeting people. The happiness, the wiggles can come after that initial little butt sit, okay? She does not have to stay seated the entire time you're petting her, but whenever she meets someone new, I want her in control. This usually means that I have to help her out. So whenever I'm walking around stores with Zelley and I have people come up to me and say, that is the cutest dog I've ever seen, can I pet her? And I say, of course. I have her do a sit to greet for me, and then I have the people approach. If we're walking towards someone and they want to pet Zelley and Zelley's really excited and she starts to pull, then my behavior changes. So for example, if I'm walking towards someone and Zelley starts pulling, that's not a good way to greet someone. So instead, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to walk away from that person. I'm going to make sure that Zelley is under control. Good girl, what a good girl, and then I'll go walk. If she's going to start pulling again, then I'm going to repeat that process. No, walk away, good girl. Okay, good job. And then after she shows that she is calm and control, then of course we can get all the wiggles out. She's really good at showing me her tum-tum. Is very good belly. Is very good girl. And this is usually how she greets people in the store. She'll do a little sit to greet for them, and then she goes into full pet me mode. So if you notice that Zelley is just very out of control, she does not get to greet that person, and that's okay. That's a very important lesson, for all dogs to learn, is that they don't have to greet every single person that they pass on the street. Okay, so the sit to greet is a replacement behavior for jumping. So a lot of the times dogs will jump into us to get our attention, but instead we've taught Zelley, if you want my attention, you're going to sit and look like a very good girl. So if Zelley does jump on me, the command, hi, is off. So depending on the dog, my reaction when they jump is going to be different. So if Zelley was an 80-pound lab, my knee would be up pretty high and very quick. But with Zelley, I don't want to punt her across the room. My leg will still move, but it's a very just off. So it's a very clear message that I'm sending her. I do not want you jumping on me, but I also don't want to cause her any harm. It's just a, no, little shake of the leg. If she wants to sneak up behind me, then I'll do a little pop, off. Good, and then when she's seated for me, then my demeanor changes. I say, yes, okay, good girl, pet, 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 love, love, love. If I'm bending down, petting her, and she wants to jump up on me, then I will stop petting and I will say off, and I'll just kind of scoot her away. You're not going to jump? Okay, I'll resume petting. So once again, that's just a very clear message of if you're going to jump, you're not going to get positive attention from me. Okay, good girl. Okay, so this is your dog. If you want her to crawl into your lap whenever, that's fine. If you want her only to crawl into your lap or jump on you on command, that's fine. Just make sure you're consistent. Make sure your guests are consistent when interacting with Zelley. As long as Zelley knows the rules, I don't care what those rules are. Hi. Yeah, you're a good girl. He's a good girl. Okay, we're gonna go right into her feeding manners. So Zelley is expected to hold an automatic sit stay for her food. She gets fed at 6 and 6. We will go over that routine a little bit later in the crate training, but that is when she gets her food. So ideally, all I have to do is shake above her head. She's in a sit. I don't have to say stay or wait. If she breaks, then I will say no, sit, stay. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, you don't want your kibble? There's no yummy things in there. So we have worked a lot with Zelley with resource guarding. She does not resource guard with humans. We've still worked on that where I will come by and I will put really good things in her bowl. I want to show her, hi, that me being near her food is not a threat. This is not, hey, I can stick my hand in there and that's all yours. It's, hey, me being around your food is a very happy and rewarding thing. Good. Good girl. As soon as Zelley walks away from her food, I pick it up. She does not get fed until her next meal. Even if she only took a couple bites and walked away, I'm going to pick that up. She will be fine. When puppies go home from our program, they encounter some puppy blues, so she may lose her appetite for a couple of days. This is completely normal. Okay? The exception to the walk away is if she goes to get some water and then goes back to her food. I do allow that. So don't be afraid to just pick the bowl up when she walks away. Huh. Good girl. Okay. So mouthing and gently is the next manners on our list. So mouthing, Zelley has not really been a really big mouther. Hey. Huh. I haven't encountered her mouthing me very, very much. However, if this is something she did with you before, she may try it with you again. So if you're petting her and she starts mouthing you, hi, you are going to take away whatever she's mouthing. So she's not allowed to mouth on anything that's mine. So my hair, my skin, my clothes, any of my things, I'm going to take it away very firmly. I don't want to pull away the object and have her think this is a fun game and she should bite it again. It's a very clear, distinct pull my hand away, pull my clothing, my bracelet, whatever, I'll pull away and then I'll grab her snout and I'll tell her no. The petting, the fun, the atmosphere changes. I'll pause there. I want to make sure that she understands what I'm saying to her. No. Are you going to mouth on me? No, we're cool. Okay, we can let the petting continue. After that, if she wanted to mouth me again, I would repeat that process. So take away, hold, no. But then I would add a walk away. I'm going to ignore Zelley for like 30, 45 seconds, which is forever in Zelley time. But that's showing her that if you want to mouth on me, you don't get to hang out with me. If you're not going to listen to my rules, then you don't get to interact with me. Huh. So something that goes with that is gently. So I always expect Zelley to take a treat very nicely from me. I don't want any piranha teeth coming in. I want her to be very nice when taking food from me. This has not been a problem. She doesn't have a hard mouth, but I still like to check in and make sure she's doing it very nicely. If you notice that she wants to jump up to grab the treat or she starts snapping to get the food, take that treat away. I'm going to change my body language. So for example, if I come down here and she starts leaping up, let's see if the 4 paws leave the ground. No, good. Then I'll give her the treat. But if she wants to rear up, then I'm going to say, oh, no. And I'm going to reset my body language. Then I'll say gently, lower back down. If she pops back up, no. If she's using the piranha jaws more than the jumping, my hand is going to have that treat enclosed, and I'm not going to open that until the teeth are gone. Okay, good girl, good gently. Good girl. Okay, and that is gently and mouthing. Okay, so we're going to do drop its now. So toys are Zelley's favorite thing. She loves toys. I hope she has a mountain of toys at home. Toys are very, very special to her. Make sure you utilize them. Utilize them in the training. Make sure they're very salient reward, and make sure that she has lots of access to toys, but you keep those toys in rotation and she does not have full access all the time. We want to make sure this stays special so I can use it for her training and her happiness. So Zelley, whenever I give her a toy in here, she wants to go to that corner and hide under the couch and eat it, and she wants to steal all the toys and put them in a big pile so no one else can touch them. So she's going to be on the leash while I'm working on this drop it with her. Good girl, good girl. See, there she goes. Zelley, drop it. Okay, good girl, good girl. So whenever I issue a drop it, I want to make sure that Zelley knows that I am talking to her. So a lot of the time, especially in the first several reps of drop it, I'll say her name, just so she knows that I'm talking to her. I will then give her a second or two to comply. Sometimes it takes a second to process. You can't go to your hoard, Miss Missy, thank you. It takes a second to process and then maybe another second to comply and drop it out of the mouth. However, if it's clear that she's just ignoring me, I'm not going to repeat myself. Do not say drop it, drop it, drop it, Zelley, drop it. That is a useless waste of time. So instead, I will tell her no. That's going to be my next line of defense. If I have said drop it and she is not listening, then my next thing is no. If she fixed that mistake, I'll say yes, good girl, okay? Even though I didn't really issue the drop it, we're just going to pretend. And then we can keep going on. However, if I said no and she decides to ignore me at that point, then I'm going to physically take it away. So the easiest way, I guess there's a couple different options for Zelley, is that you can hold the toy. Do you want to hold on to that? Thank you. I'll hold the toy. Here, I'll get kind of close. I'll hold the toy on either side, and I'll just kind of work my hands in there and kind of edge her mouth out. Okay, so that's option number one. Option number two is to curl her lips around her canine. So I'll do that with my thumb and my middle finger, and I'll curl and make her open her mouth, and I can take away the toy. Brad is really good at finding an eject button with the tongue, and he'll put his thumb on the tongue, and they'll go, "Hah." Okay, so if I had to physically take it away from Zelley, she's going to earn it back. You didn't listen, I had to take it away from you. You're not going to get the toy back till you show me that you're under control. So this does not require, like, I'm not going to have her do a really big command. I'm not going to have her do a 20-second down stay while I run away. It's just a, hey, are you focused? Are you listening to me? How about a little sit? Maybe a watch me, maybe a really quick place, and then, yes, okay, good girl, go get it. Okay, so please, 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 and there she goes. Brad will help me out and bring the doggy back. Please use this command so much with Zelley. This is one of her most important manners, her most important command, thank you, Brad, that she will have in your home because she's so toy motivated and she loves to pick things up. So keep this command fresh. When you work on it, it's in play. Whenever I work on drop-its with Zelley, it's a very fun environment. We're running around, we're playing, she lets it go, and I immediately give it back to her. Drop it. Okay. So that, like, she tried to grab it right before I said okay, but it was just kind of iffy timing on my part. That was my bad. But that is something I do want to talk about, is that if I said drop it, she's not allowed to hurry and pick back up till I say okay. So if I was able to catch that before my mouth already said the okay, I would have said no and waited for that pause. Okay? Good girl, good girl. Drop it. Okay, good girl. Hey, so she's chewing on something she's not supposed to. You're going to use this command, drop it. Okay, Zelley. Okay, good. She's in check, she's seated, she's waiting. Awesome, that's a very good girl. It's a very good girl. Okay, so she's chewing on something she's not supposed to, which means anything that is not hers. No old shoes, no old blankets, not your furniture, nothing. So you're gonna say drop it, and then when she lets go, you're going to replace it with something of the same consistency. So that part is really important. So it's not enough to say, hey, don't chew on this, don't chew on this. You need to show her what she is allowed to chew on. And it's also really important to match that texture. So if I catch her chewing on one of my socks, I'm going to ask for her to drop it. When she lets go, I'm going to be very excited. Yes, good girl, good job. But then I'm going to give her something soft in return. If I find her chewing on one of my table legs, I'm going to ask for her to drop it, and I'm going to give her something hard like a bully stick. So as long as you are consistent at replacing, you're not going to have a problem with the drop-its. Okay, so just remember, ask for it one time, and then make sure you follow through. If you don't follow through for Zelley, she will happily ignore you. She has to know that you're going to follow through. Huh, she's a very good girl. She's very good. So while we have the toy out, that leads into our next manner of children and toys. If anyone is playing with a puppy around me, they have a toy. With my adult dogs, like I'll play and wrestle them, but they know not to mouth me. With puppies, I don't even want to tempt it, especially with children. So whenever Zelley is playing or is around kids, there is a toy in between. So this gives Zelley an outlet. So instead of getting too crazy, maybe jumping on the kids, biting a pant leg, a shirt, some hair, she has this outlet. And as you can tell, she really likes this outlet. So please utilize the toys. Good. Good girl, good girl. Okay, drop it. Good girl, very good. Okay, so our last manner that we're going to talk about is handling. So Zelley, hi, is a very wiggly girl, and handling her, well, now you're just being demanding. No, handling her has actually been rather difficult and something that we need to work up to, and you will need to continue throughout her life. So we've learned very quickly that she is comfortable being held a very certain way. She likes to be upright. We've spent a lot of time holding her in a lot of other different positions, but I also want her to be comfortable. So something that we did a little compromise with this position is you notice that I'm kind of holding her back paws hostage, because if I don't, if she's uncomfortable, then she'll start doing a back scratch, and I really don't like being scratched on my forearms. So I hold nice and secure. I have her butt. Yes, hello. This good girl. Yeah. So with handling Zelley, if she squirms, I'm not going to put her down. Of course, I want her to be comfortable. I want her to be happy. If she's uncomfortable with something, I'll take a step back. Like if I'm clipping her nails and she starts wiggling around, I'll drop the clippers, but I won't let go of Zelley. I'll take that step back. I'll pet her. I'll massage her. I'll give her a treat. And then I'll slowly go back to clipping the nails. It's a very clear, like, of course, I want you to be comfortable, but if you're going to throw a temper tantrum, I'm not just going to let you off my lap. Gauging Zelley, if I know she's really stressed out, yeah, we'll take a play break. We'll pick it up later, but the break is going to be when she is calm and when I say, okay, good girl, Zelley, let's go. Okay, so just make sure that you spend a lot of time handling her. Handle her like they would at the vet and at the groomers. So I do a lot, of cleaning her ears or even pretending to. Good. I clipped her nails this morning. Very good girl. So you notice very calm demeanor, except if we're gonna bark at something. A lot of time holding her snoot. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. And I want to make sure it's a very rewarding experience for her. I want her to be very relaxed. Oh, good girl. Okay, so just be consistent. Just make sure she's happy, but don't let her get away with throwing a big wiggly temper tantrum and trying to squirm away from you. Okay. Those are all of our manners, and we're going to go into the commands. So that being said, with all of these manners, expect them right from the get-go. As soon as you pick Zelley up, she is doing all of these manners. These manners are going to help this transition be smooth. It's going to help her know her place, help her know her routine. Hi. You are going to go easy on the commands I'm about to show you. I want to make sure she's comfortable. She's transitioning to you as the leader, and then we can slowly introduce the commands. But just expect manners right from the get-go. Yeah, you ready? Yeah, this good girl. Okay, the first command that I'm going to show you is place. So this is Zelley's favorite command. Zelley, place. So I'll point to where I want her to go. When she has all four paws on, I'll say, good girl. But I save that marker word, okay, for when she's allowed to come off. Place. So I love the place command. It gives her a job to do. It gives her a place to settle down. If I'm going to have her in place for a long time, I'm going to do a couple different things. I'm going to periodically come by and I'm going to say, oh, good girl. And notice I'm saying good and not the marker word. This is an intermediary marker where I'm saying you're doing a good job, you're not done, but keep going. So this will help her stay on track and help build up those long duration for places. Hi. I can also give her a toy or a bully stick while she's in place. So right now, Zelley can do about 2 minutes in her place command. If you're consistent and build that up, a little distraction, a little bit more duration at a time, this is going to extend into Zelley settling into her place for like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours at a time. You just have to do it in slow increments and be consistent. If I know Zelley's in place and there are hard distractions, maybe there are kids running around, maybe you're at a new place, there's a party, something's happening, the movers are coming, FedEx guy coming in and out of the door, I'm going to manage her place command. So I'm not going to say, hey, this is something really hard for you to do, go to your place, and then I'm going to leave the room. No, I'm going to stand really close to place, and if she stayed there while like a stranger walked by, I'm going to mark that with a very good girl. If I notice that she wants to break quite a bit, she's going to be on the leash for me. So when she does try and like leap off a place, I can do a very gentle no, guide her back, mark her for staying on. Good girl. Yeah. Okay. Utilize place. Place is amazing. Place. It does not have to be a raised bed. Any area, any object with like a defined parameter is a really good object for place. Okay, good girl, good girl. Okay, crate. So same rules apply for crate as they do place. I'll tell her good for going in, and I save that marker word, okay, for when she's allowed to come out. Zelley, crate. So she's very tiny and therefore has a very tiny crate. The full version is tapping on top. However, we've been working on me just fully standing and pointing toward the crate and having her still listen. Okay, good girl. So with these, oh, what a good guesser. So with these commands, it's one and done. So if I said place and I pointed and she said, I have no idea what we're talking about, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm going to change my body language. So same thing with crate. Okay, that was a very good distraction. If I said Zelley crate, and she just looked at me and said, I don't understand, I'm not going to say crate, 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 Zelley crate. Good girl, by the way, very good girl. I am going to slowly move and help her out. Okay, good girl, good girl. You want to do it again? Okay, so crate. You need to practice crate way more than you need to use it. If you only use the crate command for when you close the door and leave her in there, she's not going to want to do the command. So in, out, okay, here's your toy, go play. A lot of the time when I'm playing with Zelley, I'll say crate. As soon as she goes in, I say, okay, release. She gets to jump out and chase after her toys. Keep it very fun. When she's an adult, you may only use that for when she goes in and you close the door. Right now, as a puppy, and especially during this transition, practice, practice, practice. Okay, you did that to yourself, but thank you so much. Are you gonna go back? We'll think about it. Okay, so the other thing with crate, if I told Zelley crate, and she looks at me and goes, no, thank you, Skylar, I'm gonna go this way, then that is when I'm going to say no, and I'm gonna walk over to Zelley, I'm gonna pick her up, and I'm gonna put her in the crate. She does not get to reject my command. On that note, once again, you're gonna gauge your dog. If you notice Zelley's had a very long day, she's not listening, I'm not even gonna issue the command. Okay, good girl. I'm just gonna pick up my dog and I'm just gonna place her in the crate. But if you said the command, she has to follow through, okay? So be firm, you don't have to be mean, but you may have to be firm. Go pick her up, go put her in the crate, okay? So we have our 3 hand gestures, Zelley. So these, crate and bet, place, no, thank you. Thank you, She loves crate and place commands. You're being very sassy to me right now. She wants to work more. I don't know if you can tell that. She's very excited to work with me right now. So we have 3 hand gestures. We have sit, down, and stay. Okay, sit, down, and stay. So down has been her hardest. With her legs only being 3 inches, you would think that down is a really easy thing for her, but it's something that she struggles with. So of course, I'm gonna help her out. Are you done? Okay, down. Okay, good girl. Good girl. Stay. So Zelley can do about 20 seconds sit and down stays. Build this up very slowly. If you do it a little bit at a time, that's going to extend to about a full minute, maybe 2 minutes. Okay, good girl, good girl. We've added various distractions to her stays. To solidify that command. So maybe we'll do it a little bit more. Hey, Zelley, come here. Oh, bless you. Okay, sit. Good girl. We're gonna go back to scratchies. Down. Stay. No, so she broke. I'm gonna immediately tell her that. She paused. I love the pause. She didn't try and go after the treats, but I'm just gonna reset her. Down, stay. Easy peasy, you don't need to get mad at your dog. We're just gonna reset her. So that is when I will repeat myself if she breaks that command. I'm gonna add a little bit more. No, this may be too hard. So this leads to a really good example of good girl, stay. If she breaks 3 times in a row, it's too hard. Okay, good girl, good girl. That was a lot of food on the floor for that one. Okay, so 3 times in a row. If she breaks once or twice, that's fine. She's learning, I can correct her, we can reset, it's all good. However, if she broke 3 times in a row, it's too much. I don't want her to get frustrated. I don't want to get frustrated. Hi, good girl, good girl. So instead of asking, like if she broke that 3rd time, I wouldn't have even backed up. I would have stayed over here and I would have broke that command down and rewarded her more frequently. Okay, good sit. Down. She looked at this hand instead of this one, so I'm just gonna move that there. Okay, good girl. Stay. Okay, you stayed for half a second, very good girl. And at that point, I could end on that success or I could build her back up. So then maybe next time I'd ask, no, off, thank you. I could ask for a stay while I stood up, reward, down, stay, stood up, take a step back, reward. Okay, very good girl, very good girl. Thank you for demonstrating that. Okay, so the important thing to remember with the sit down and stays, don't get frustrated, help her out when needed, but I'm always gonna start with like the full standard. I don't wanna have to help her out every time or she will become dependent on me crouching and doing big exaggerated things. She's a very good girl. But if I've just said sit and she looks at me and says, I've never seen that command before in my life, don't repeat yourself. Please, please, please do not say sit, 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 Zelley, sit. It's sit, and then if she does not listen, you're doing so good. If she didn't listen to this, I would take a step in. Maybe I'd hold that leash back so she's not going to wiggle about. Hi, just like that. There you go. Okay, good girl. Help her out. If she does not understand, help her out. Change your body language so she can succeed. Okay. We're going to go into leave it. So when I say leave it to something, that something is forever forbidden. So I do not do leave it with permanent objects in the house. I use leave it for things that I can take away from Zelley, like if I dropped glass and it shattered, if I dropped chocolate, if she wants to get into like some trash, that's a leave it. Or I can take Zelley away from, like we're on a walk and maybe she encountered some yummy, yummy cow pies that she wants to get into, that's a leave it because I can take her away from those things. Permanent things like plants, baseboards, that's a no and a management situation. So leave it can be very, very important if she's going after something that she could choke on. It's poisonous for her. It's dangerous. I had to do leave it with a rattlesnake before. We've done leave it with some really gross dead things. It's a very important command. Do not forget this command. Zelley, come here. Thank you. Good girl. Okay. I'll probably just use the treats in my treat pouch. Zelley, you see these? Do you see these? Leave it. Good girl. So with leave it, you notice I have my ham and I'm going to give her, good girl, no, good. I'm gonna reward her as she continues to leave it alone because who knows how long it's gonna take for me to clean up that glass or get away from the gross poo in the road. Good girl, you're leaving it alone. I can say good. She did try to go for it a little bit. She was a little confused when I said good. She thought that was a go ahead. So all it's needed, no, leave it, no. So you see those little corrections? Good girl is all it takes. Good, I can give no Zelley feedback, good girl, without being mean. Oh, good job, baby, good girl. Apparently this is gonna be really hard leave it for Zelley today. We don't wanna leave those treats on the floor alone. And then when I pick it up, No, leave it. Okay, good girl. When it's all gone, I'm going to give her lots and lots of treats. Nope, it's gone now. It's all gone. You can't have it. So, okay, good girl. Good girl. If you do not have treats on you, just be very exuberant with your praise. Be very happy. Maybe bust out a toy, run away from the gross cowpie, pick her up, tell her she's a very, very good girl. Just make sure that reward is very happy and very, very clear. Okay, crate training. So Zelley has been sleeping through the night in her crate for 8 hours. So she's been going to bed at 10, getting up at 6. Keep to that routine. You can slowly adjust her getting out of the crate a little bit later and later to fit your schedule, but don't do it right away. Just know that she's going to have to go to the bathroom. She's going to need to run around about like 5:30 or 6 in the morning. She's been eating at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Once again, you can change that 6 a.m. to fit your schedule. Do not feed her later than 6 p.m. The reason we do this is so she has enough time to clear everything out of her system before going to bed at 10. On that same note, we take away all of the water at 8 p.m. Once again, nothing in the system. Better to just sleep the night in the crate. As she gets older, she can have more and more access, more and more food, but this is just a really good way to manage that situation. When you first bring her home, don't give her unlimited access to water. Please give her water several times throughout the day, but don't just leave a really big water bowl for her. Make sure she's very well hydrated, and then as she earns trust in your home, give her all the water that she wants. Okay, so the first night you have her, set an alarm for 1 a.m., take her outside to pee. Skip the bells, just take her out. So the reason we say this is that dogs, when they transition, they are often stressed. When dogs are stressed, they go to the bathroom more. So this is just a preventative measure. You only have to do it for the very first night you have her, and then you're okay. Okay, so that is crate training in the nighttime. Crate training in the daytime, the max that we do for Zelley at a time right now is 4 hours. We have yet to do back-to-back 2 4-hour-long sessions. Instead, we like to break it up. So as I'm sure, as you've read in the training journal, the routine for Zelley is that we'll go on a big walk in the morning. She'll come back, she'll get a very light drink. She'll go in the crate for about 3.5 to 4 hours. And then it's a whirlwind of playtime, house training, commands. And then we sprinkle more crate training in there. So it really kind of depends. I don't want her to stick to a very strict schedule. I don't want her expecting when to be let out of the crate. But usually it's one big block, and then she has time to release that energy, and then I'll put her in for maybe like 1 to 3 more times for various different time periods. So I'll put her in there for an hour, maybe then I'll only put in for 20 minutes, maybe she's in for an hour and a half. So please continue doing that. Make her time in the crate variable. If you are on a schedule, if you're always away from your house from noon to 3, that's fine. Don't always put her in at the exact same time, and don't always let her out at the exact same time. The latter part of that sentence is the most important. When you come home, please do not rush to Zelley's crate and let her out and erupt in a shower of happiness and greetings and celebrations. I know it's very exciting to see your dog when you come home, but you're only going to create anxiety and this charge of, hey, Leslie's home. That means I'm going to go nuts because she's going to let me out of the crate. Instead, don't always let her out right away. Come in, say, hi, Zelley, I love you. I'm going to go change. I'm going to get a drink. I'll be right back. You're calm in the crate. It's been, 3, 5, 10 minutes? Awesome. Now you get to come out. I will gently greet you. Let's go potty. Okay, now we can erupt in happiness. Zelley is chewing on a bully stick right now, which is that sound in the crate. She's very happy with her bully stick. Okay, just make that time in the crate variable. Also, put her in the crate when you are gone and when you are home. That is very, very important that you do both. If you only put her in the crate when you leave, she's going to associate the crate with you abandoning her. Okay, she needs to see that it's okay to be calm and relaxed in her crate while you are in the house walking about. Okay, all right, so vocal control in the crate. So Zelley is not a big barker in the crate. She doesn't have accidents in the crate. She's very good. Zelley's quirk is that she wants to dig at the crate door and try and dig her way out of a very solid crate. It has never worked for her, but she still tries. So when that happens, we use hush. So I'll be talking, I'll be doing my thing in here. I hear dig, 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 and it's Zelley, hush. And I change my tone. It's very stern, say stern maybe. Just a very clear, hey, we're not doing that. I need you to cut it out. Okay? If she continues to do it, I will cover her with a blanket. I make sure that she cannot see out of it at all. Like a little parrot, if she can't see what she's missing, she's going to settle down. If she is just digging like crazy in the crate and you've covered her, you've ignored her, you told her hush, you can do a couple more intrusive ways of correcting that. But I always save those for last because I want to give her the least intrusive correction possible. So a couple things is if she's digging like that, I could walk to the crate and I could say, hush, hi babe, and I can just tap it. I don't want to do that right now. She's being very good, but it's a, hey, hush, whap, whap, whap with my foot, hush again. Okay, I can get a penny shaker for $20 off Amazon, or I can have my drink, finish it, fill it with rocks, close the lid, shake, shake, shake. So here, hey, Zelley, hush. Good girl, good girl. If she's been quiet for more than a minute, I may go over and say good hush and give her a treat, but I don't want to give it right after because I don't want a habit of dig, 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 hush, quiet, dig, 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 hush, quiet. I want her to prove that she is being in control. Thank you for demonstrating once again, Miss Zelley. Okay, so you can cover her, you can use the hush, 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 and the very last method you could use is a squirt, is a water bottle. I don't really use that with Zelley. Talking with Rebecca about it yesterday, and she said, yeah, I don't like using it with Zelley either. She wants to just lick up the water and then keep doing what she's doing. So we found that hush and the wrapping on the crate and the blanket are the best methods for Zelley. So please, 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 please utilize the crate. The crate is an amazing tool. If you cannot give her 100% supervision in your home, which we will be going over in a sec, 100% supervision, she goes in the crate. If you cannot look at her, if you cannot see what she's doing, what she can get into, if you want to focus on something, she's going to go in the crate. If you don't want to go to the bathroom with a bathroom buddy, she goes in the crate. Okay, so I do believe those are all of the things about crate training, and then we're going to get into house training. Okay, so house training is going to require the most effort on your part out of everything that we've talked about so far. So it's going to be 2 weeks of a mild inconvenience for a lifetime of good house training. So for the first 24 hours you have Zelley, not including when she's in the crate or she's sleeping all cute, you're going to target bells with her every 30 minutes. She's not going to have to go every 30 minutes, but this is more to establish the pattern of, hey, here's your home, here's the door, here's the bells, here's your potty spot, good job, you peed outside, good outside, good outside, good girl. Okay, this is also going to take away any opportunities for her to have an accident inside because you're going to be beating her to it every single time. Okay, after those initial 24 hours has passed, that time is going to extend to 45 minutes. Okay, and then an hour. Keep her at an hour for 2 or 3 days, and then you can work your way up to 2 hours. Okay, so with house training with Zelley, I do believe Brad said that she was using pee pads before. We've transitioned her to the bells. It took her a while to get used to that, but now she's doing really well. For such a small dog, she rings the bells really enthusiastically. You do not have to keep them for the entirety of her life. You can phase them out, but don't phase them out right away. Please utilize them, at least for a little bit, to help her transition. It gives her an outlet. Hey, I need to go. This is what I need to do to show that I need to be let out. After she's doing well in your home, I don't care what you do with the bells, but right now, please, please, please use them. Okay. So I am going to show you in a bit what that is going to look like your every 30 minutes and the first time you bring her home. Until then, we're going to talk about the house training. So once again, 100% supervision. This does not mean I saw her in the living room 5 minutes ago. I'm pretty sure this is what she's doing. Or I saw her napping 20 minutes ago. I'm sure she's fine. No, it is someone responsible has active eyes on Zelley at all times. If she disappears around the corner, I'm going to follow her. I'm going to call her back. I don't have babies. I don't have baby gates. Instead, I just close all of the doors in my house. I use crates. I block it off. The puppy stays in the same room as me at all times. If I need to get up and go, that dog is going to come with me, or they're going to go in the crate. Okay? She should not have an opportunity to have an accident in your house because you are going to be watching her with 100% supervision. She will earn freedom. She will earn access in your home as she gets older. But right now, it is going to be way more beneficial for you to keep an hawkeye look on Zelley at all times. So if you notice you're starting to relax, you're giving her a little bit more freedom, that's awesome. But as soon as she makes a mistake, if she makes a mistake, you're going to say, okay, that was too much freedom. I'm going to supervise you now. So now we're going to start, I'll take you out every hour again. You're going to be in the same room as me. And then you can slowly earn that freedom back. Do not just drop Zelley in your home and expect her to know the rules. You have to show her the rules, and you need to be consistent with those rules. 100% supervision. If Zelley leaves you a present and you find it 30 seconds later, 5 minutes later, you're going to bring your hand up like this and you're going to slap yourself on the wrist and say, bad dog owner, I should have watched Zelley better. She should not have an opportunity to pee in the house because you're going to be watching her with 100% supervision. Okay? If she does have an accident, she hasn't had an accident in a very long time. She's been, once again, amazing with her house training. But if she does have an accident, I want it to be right in front of you so you can correct it. So this is when I am the most angry with Zelley. I'll raise my voice. I will go, no, 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 no. And I will scoop her up and I will take her outside. So the important part here is that I go outside with her. I can't just shove her out so I can clean up the mess. You have to go with her. And the reason we say that is that you can reward her when she finishes outside. So this is sending a very clear message. Don't ever do that again. And then we'll go outside. She finishes peeing. I shove my anger deep, deep down. And I say, yes, good girl, good outside. Black and white as possible. Okay? And then you can come back. You can clean up the mess. And you can say, okay, we're going to start taking you out a little bit sooner. Maybe I need to be watching your cues a little bit more. So cue, Zelley has to go to the bathroom. If she is panting, pacing, going in circles, little teeny tiny squat with her 3-inch legs, just get the bells, just take her outside. Okay, so the bells. I'm gonna let Zelley out and I'm gonna demonstrate what you're going to do when you first bring Zelley home. So the first time we bring Zelley home, she can be in the yard, make sure she pees before you bring her in. You can give her a beautiful tour of the home in your arms. You can say, hey, look, all these pretty things. But the first official thing that you're going to do is you're gonna take the bells out of your go home bag, and I'll just use these. And you're gonna target bells with Zelley. So this is something that we've written, I don't know how many times in the training journal, and it's just giving Zelley a treat every time she touches the bells with her nose, okay? So the very first time, the bells will be off the door, but after you've done that little exercise, they can stay on the door. And then all the subsequent times you target bells, you're just gonna be right here. The bells will stay there, okay? So one time off, rest of the time the bells are on the door. Okay, my leash is over here. Okay, good, Zelley girl, hello. Hello. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna step on the leash so I have more control over the treats and the bell, and I'm going to just put the bells, okay, just like that. Okay. I'll have her do it, what, 2 more times? So you know she's not really looking at me, so I may need to shorten that leash. Hey, I'm not gonna shove the bells in her face, but I may bring, no jumping, thank you. Okay. You don't need to reach the highest bell. Okay, good girl. And then when she's done that, happy, exciting, I get a treat for touching. Then we can go over and we'll repeat. But this time, okay, outside. I'm gonna add okay, outside. Okay, outside. Every time Zelley rings bells here, I say, okay, outside. Okay, outside. Good job. Good job. Okay, outside. What a good girl. And then we're gonna go outside to the potty spot. So she holds, no. So a little correction needed there. She's waiting, she's doing great. Okay, let's go. Outside. Okay. All right. So 3 minutes tops. Oh, we need a drink. 3 minutes tops every time I take Zelley out. Usually I'm average 1 to 2 minutes, but if I know, I'm like, hey, you need to poo, you haven't gone to the bathroom in a bit, I'm gonna give her the full 3. Never give her more than the 3. After that, they lose their attention span and they've kind of lost focus of why they're out there to begin with. I'm gonna keep her walking. If she's seated, if she's sunbathing, obviously she's not looking for a spot to pee. So I'm gonna keep her walking. While I'm out there, I'm gonna be saying outside, outside, Zelley, outside. As soon as she goes, good outside, treat, treat, treat. For the first 2-3 days, every time she touches the bells, she gets a treat from me. Oh, yes, come here. After that, she only gets a treat for pottying outside. Otherwise, you're gonna have a dog that rings the bells for attention and anytime she wants a little snack, okay? So, you know, we want to establish the pattern of ringing bells is very rewarding, but then she's gotta earn it. So just keep a treat container right at your back door. Okay, good girl. Okay, I do believe that is all of the house training, and we have leash work next. So Zelley has three or four different kinds of walks. The first one is an off-leash walk where she can run wild, be a dog, and my requirement is that she checks in with me and listens to when I talk to her. So this is a great way to relieve all of her zoomies. She gets to explore, be a dog, sniff, but that is when we work on our recalls. So Zelley with me has an excellent recall that is gonna have to transition to you, which brings us to the next kind of walk is the long lead walk. So I love the long lead. Notice I'm not saying retractable leash. I do not like retractable leashes. I really strongly suggest you getting a couple different lengths of the long lead. So this way she can still run around and be a dog, but I still have control over her and the situation. And this way I can work on her recall. So if I call her and she doesn't listen, I have that rope and I can reel her in. So I'm going to demonstrate her recall to you. So I'm gonna let her be distracted. She came right up to Brad. So first I'm gonna make sure I have her attention. So I'm gonna say her name. Whenever I call her, it's very different from my normal speaking cadence. When she comes to me, I may say, good girl, good job, to encourage her, to tell her, hey, you're doing the right thing, keep doing that. And then when she comes all the way to me, I'm gonna say, okay, and give her a treat. Zelley, come. Good, okay, good girl. So once again, that was very, very different. So if we're on a walk and I called her and she did that, not biting, thank you, then she gets to go back on her merry little way. I'm like, hey, thank you for checking in. Go check out that bush, go have fun. There's a Brad behind the camera. We're gonna go demand belly rubs from him. And then a minute later, I'm gonna do that same thing. So if she's off leash, long lead, that does not mean she gets to ignore you. That means she has more space to be a dog and explore, but you can still work on that recall and still work on that relationship. If she decides to check in and stay with me of her own accord, I'm going to reward that. Whatever you want, whatever you reinforce gets repeated. So if you like the behavior that Zelley is doing, reward that. Tell her she's being a very good girl. Okay. So this long lead walk is also the kind of walk that I suggest for walks around the neighborhood. I want her to sniff. I want her to get to know her neighborhood. I want her to be relaxed. I want her to be happy. So I'm going to give her that much space. So walks around the neighborhood with my dogs. I have a long lead and we work on our check-ins. I make sure they're not going where they're not supposed to, but they have a lot more freedom. Okay. So what we do if Zelley does not listen to the recall? I have this leash. So if I said, Zelley, come, and she looked at me and said, no, thank you, I want to check out this bush instead, thank you for your interest, that is when I am going to say no, as I'm reeling her in like a little fish. She's going to feel a little tug on the leash, and then when she follows that tug, when she follows that pressure to me, my tone is immediately going to change. So it's going to go from no pull to yes, good girl, good job, keep doing that, come to me, when you come to me, okay. She does not get to ignore my recall. Okay, she is very, very happy getting belly rubs from Brad right now. So let's see. So I'm going to pretend. Actually, I may back up just so she can see me a little bit better. Zelley, come. Good girl. Okay, almost had to reel you in. You were deep in belly rub mode. Huh? Yes, it's a very good girl. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to sprinkle. Hey, couple treats. Over there, it's just so she's distracted. So if I called her and she didn't listen, it's a no. Good, okay. So you notice, like, I don't have to yank on her. I'm just giving her direction of like, hey, I need you to follow this pressure on your neck. Okay, and you're very, very quick to give that feedback of don't do this. Good job, this is what I want to see instead. Okay, beautiful. Zelley, come. Okay, good girl, good girl. Okay, that is the long lead. Feel free to watch this section a couple times. Really do not be afraid to utilize that little tug. Another reason we don't do retractable leashes is because it gives them constant tension on the neck. I use that tension, that pressure, hey, knock it off, to give them direction. Whether it's, okay, well, if you're gonna chew on it, then you don't get to be on the floor. Thank you. So I give them direction. So with the retractable one, they're learning to pull against it, where with the long lead, I can only, like, I will do that when I'm telling her to do something, whether it's guiding her around or correcting her. Okay, so what to do if you do not have the long lead and you've called her and Zelley doesn't come to you. Good girl. Here, do you want to be more comfortable? Want to come over here? There we go. There you go. Good girl. Okay, so you're going to do the same basic principle. It still applies, but you don't have the long lead. Instead, you're going to walk to her. So I'm only going to say it once. So it's Zelley, come, and if you do not listen, then I change my body language, and I'm going to say no, and I'm going to immediately start walking towards her. If she sees me walking and then she starts coming to me, I'm going to stop walking. Maybe I'll walk backwards to encourage her to follow me. And as soon as she starts coming to me, my voice changes. Yes, good girl, good job. Come on, baby girl, good girl. You came to me. Okay. I am never going to punish her for her coming to me. Even if I had to chase her for 5 minutes and she came to me the last 10 feet, I'm going to shove my anger down and I'm going to say, yes, good girl, good job. I'll put the long lead on her, but I'm not going to punish her. If I have to go all the way to her, I'll just simply tell her no again. I'll put her on the long lead. We're going to practice our recalls. She does not get to ignore you. You're going to call her one time. She's going to follow through, or you are going to make her follow through. Okay? This is an intermediate level command. Practice it way more than you use it. 9 times out of 10, when you call Zelley, it's to get a treat, a very good girl, I love you so much, and then she gets to go back on her merry little way. It is only the 1 time out of 10 that we leave the park, we go in, we end the fun. If you only call her when she's in trouble, if you only call her when the fun stops, she's not going to want to come to you. Keep it very fun, keep it very fresh, keep it very light. On that note, I do not say, Zelley, come inside the house. I'll say, Zelley, yeah, or come here, but it's not the formal command. I save that for when I actually need to use it, when I can't have her trapped in the walls of my house. This good girl. Okay, so the last walk is her heel. So while on walks with her, with the long lead and the off leash, like I'll have little spurts of, hey, you're gonna walk on a heel with me right now. So whenever Zelley is inside, hi, like if we go on an outing, she's at a heel. I practice it outside quite a bit. Run, run, run. Okay, now you're at a really good heel. Walk with me for a couple minutes. Okay, now you're free. If there's a lot of high distractions, a lot of people, we are going to use the heel. So while we're at a heel, we're not sniffing. We're not checking things out. We're not wandering. The heel is, hey, I need you to focus. So this is why we say don't use the heel all the time. Give her that long lead time to be a dog. Hi, but she knows the heel means that we're working right now. Okay, so I'm going to slide this long lead, and Brad can make it all look nice and pretty out of the camera shot. Thank you, Brad. Okay, so with the heel, hey, she's only going to get about this much space. Whenever I stop walking, the expectation is for her to sit. While we're in a heel, she's focused on me. Hey, good. Always have a treat pouch when you're walking Zelley. Nope, always, always, always. With my 3 adult dogs, I have a treat pouch. It holds my poop bags. It holds maybe a toy, a bully stick, my hand sanitizer. I can wrap the long lead around. I can wrap the short leash around. What if I want to let her off leash and I want to work on recalls? What if I need to do a leave it? Please have treats on you. Okay, Zelley, heel. So with Zelley, I need to warm up, hey, her heel a lot of the time, which means that I'll give little corrections, hey, good, and a lot of rewards, and then she'll settle in. So usually the first like 30 seconds of our walk, she's like, no, good, in a what are we doing mode, and then she settles right in. Good girl. I will give her rewards while we're walking and when we sit. Heel. Good girl, good girl. See, she's already doing better. She's a little confused as to why we're not walking outside. But you also notice I'm giving her constant feedback. Hey, good girl. Whether it's just the hey, Zelley, no, telling her she's a good girl. Constant feedback regardless of what it is. Good girl. Okay, pulling. She does not get to pull. She does not get to ignore me. I don't care how long the lead is, she's not pulling. So with the heel, obviously she does not have a lot of space. So it's a lot easier to pull with this heel than in the long lead. So if she does pull, I'm going to tell her no while 2 pops are given to her collar with my leash. So I will say no, pop, pop. She puts the slack back in. She keeps that slack. I'll say yes, good girl. I will correct her twice before I see, okay, that's not working. That's not an effective way for me to interact with her. So I'm going to change it up. So my second line of defense, if she pulls, is to stop walking completely. If she wants to pull towards a fire hydrant and she's not listening to my Zelley easies, then I'm going to stop walking. She's not going to go forward if she's going to pull to get there. I'll wait for her to get her attention back to me. Like, are you focusing? I exist. Hi, Zelley. Good girl. We're in control. Okay, let's go. And then if she had the audacity to continue pulling after that, then I'm going to say nope, and I'm going to change direction. I'm going to do a 180. I'm going to walk faster. It's kind of hard to do in a very small square right now, but I will keep that direction. Very sporadic. Nope. We really want to ring. I think she wants to ring the bells. Good girl. And when she's under control again, good, very good girl, then I'll go back to the thing that she was distracted by. And if she wants to pull, then I'm going to turn right back around and I would do the whole process. Good girl. It's not about quantity. It's not about how far the walk is. It's how good the walk is. So even if the first couple walks with Zelley are just back and forth in front of your house, if they're in your backyard, that's great. Switch between the long lead and the heel so she gets used to you. The important thing about leash work is that you're utilizing this pressure to tell her what you want. Okay? You're also giving her constant feedback, good and bad. I don't want you doing this, so I'm going to change my behavior to help you not do this. I like you doing this. Here's a treat. Good girl. Good job. Fantastic. Yes, you're doing so good. Heel. So with that pressure, if I turn into her, I'm going to pull that leash back so I don't smack her with my shin. If I turn around to the right, I'm going to use that. Good girl. Very good girl. And then if I stop, hey, I'm going to pull up a little bit so she knows. Good, that I want her to sit. Okay, so just lead her around like the world's tiniest horse. Good girl. Okay, that is her leash work. So the very last thing that we have to talk about is engagement. So this is going to be a very big one for Zelley. She's a very reactive dog. That's what she was bred to do, huh? You're going to alert the entire house that someone is maybe outside having the audacity to walk past. Okay, so whenever Zelley starts barking, whether it's out of excitement, fear, alarm, I'm going to engage with her. So engagement is getting her attention away from the trigger and onto me, regardless of like just whatever means necessary. So I will sit on the floor of the store and engage with Zelley if that's what it takes. I will walk away from that situation if that's what it takes to get control of my dog. So one, leash. If you know people are coming over to your house, she's in the crate before they even get to the door. You're just managing that situation. If she's doing well with those people, then she's going to be out, but she's going to be on a leash. You're not just going to say, well, let's see what happens. Let's see if I can pull her away from the door while she's barking. No, we are managing her at all times. Okay. So we have a couple of different lines of defense for engagement. So if we're out on a walk and she does like a little boo-roo-roo-roo, she's really good at going a roo-roo-roo, or there's someone knocking at the door, my first thing is say, hey, hush, or Zelley, just to get her attention. So this is, oh, very good. Yeah, it's a very good girl. So that's me kind of gauging, like, hey, you're not in the red, you're not so far gone, we need to take more drastic measures, but it's just a quick, like maybe a leash pop, or I'll go no, or look at me, something to get her attention. However, if that does not work, then you need to change. You can't just say, Zelley, 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 please stop barking. It's not going to work, okay? Good girl, you're doing very good. So your next line of defense, if that did not work, if she is just full in I need to yell at this person mode, you're going to walk away. So I'm going to say there's a person coming towards, she starts going on alert. I'll say, hey, let's go. And I'm going to get distance. However much distance, you cannot ring the bell right now, sweetie. Do you need to go number 2? Okay, we're almost done. So you're going to walk away. You're going to get distance. My next thing is to put my back to the distraction. So one, this blocks Zelley view from the distraction, and it also shows her, I don't perceive this as a threat, neither should you. I'm calm. I have this. That being said, please remain calm the entire time. If you're stressed, she is going to read that. If you're putting constant tension on that leash because you don't want her to pull, she feels that tension and says, what are we being anxious about? You're right, we should be anxious. So regardless of the situation, you're calm. You have this under control. Okay, so you're going to have your back to the distraction. If she tries to kind of peek out from under my legs, then I'll do this and I'll pop around the leash and say, no, we're not looking. Sorry. And then the last level is that I'll crouch down. Good girl. Good girl. I'll show her, hey, we're calm. I'm okay. Thank you for letting me know. The very scary jogger, but we got this. And from here, I can ask, watch me. Okay. Here, I'll get you a little further. Watch me. Okay, she's a little slow on there, so I'm not going to repeat myself. So watch me is make eye contact with me. I don't care how long it is, but I need the eye contact. Watch me. And if she wants to stare at this ham, okay, I'll give her a little vocal prompt so she looks at me. Or maybe I'll bring my finger. Maybe I'll tap her nose and say, hey, my eyes are up here. Just anything to get her attention. If she's very far gone, I'll get more distance, or I'll be more exuberant and I'll say, Zelley, hi, oh, what a good girl, what a good girl, what a good girl, we're okay. And at this point, if she's calm, if she's looking at me, I'm gonna reverse those steps. Watch me. Okay, good girl, good girl. Watch me. Okay, there you go, that was a good one. So at this point, I'm like, hey, you're calm, you're not barking, you're looking at me. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and we're gonna face that trigger. You are more than welcome to observe the world. If she wants to just look at the thing she was barking at and then look to me, fantastic. Good girl, good job observing. You're still doing well, maybe let's get a little bit closer. So I'm not afraid to take back the steps and increase them depending on what she is doing. So I will say you are going to have to do this engagement exercise definitely at least within the first 2 weeks that you have her. Every dog is reactive. The level of what they react to and the triggers variously depends. She is a big Aruru dog. We've done a lot of engagement with her. It is now very easy to get her attention back if you are consistent. If you stay calm, if you give her firm corrections and quick rewards, hey, you are not going to have a problem. However, if you are stressed and you are letting her ignore you, if she is just pulling and you're going, oh Zelley, no, that's not effective. That is not going to help her reactivity. You're the calm leader. You have this. Reward her for being a good girl and help her out of the red zone. Okay, good girl. Good girl. Okay. So that is everything for Zelley. Please feel free to watch this a couple times. Feel free to memorize it. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for bringing Zelley to us. We have really enjoyed training her, and I hope you're going to be really happy with her.